I spent my whole damn life in the city. I could go for broke, but the capital is in me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. Anywhere I go, DC's coming with me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. I could go for broke, but the capital is in me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. Anywhere I go, DC's coming with me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. I could go for broke, but the capital is in me.
Welcome, everyone, to District Divided, a DC sports podcast, more specifically, a Washington Commanders podcast. I am Amit. That is K. Normally, we drop these episodes Friday, 2 p.m. You will notice this is beyond 2 p.m. We have ended up, we figured out after the 45-10 shellacking we took to the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day that Jack Del Rio got let go as a result, along with secondaries coach Brent Vieselmeyer, and I'll pay you $5 if you knew who that was. So blood clot, expect that coming your way, because you just had a very well-timed comment on that gentleman earlier. But we're going to be talking very, very briefly about the game, and we are going to be talking about the big news of the day, which is that Jack Del Rio, defensive coordinator, now ex-defensive coordinator, has been let go by the team, more specifically Ron Rivera. Then we're going to talk about the moving the goalposts. What does success mean from here? Where to from here? We then get to the comment mailbag, as we always do. And then after the pod, I'm going to throw it over to you in just a moment here to get your thoughts on the game yesterday. Once again, it was I want to say 12.5, 13.5 point spread, and it was covered and then some, probably 3 times over. It was 45-10. Dak Prescott with about 5-6 minutes left busted out the turkey leg, started eating that on the sideline. Then Deron Bland, while he is mid-bite, ends up housing yet another interception, setting the NFL record. You could hear the excitement from the CBS crew with Jim Nantz and Romo and all the crowd. It was disgusting. And then you see Dan Quinn celebrating, and it just felt miserable. I know you gave the disclaimer on being good with family and stuff. It was tough, though, huh? It was tough. What were your thoughts on the game?
It went down the way we thought it was going to go down. I mean, I was re-listening to the pod, our last episode, and you had your prediction, which you had a little closer than I had it.
I did.
But then at the end, you kind of talked to yourself, and yeah, I could totally see this starting off a bit close, and then we get the doors blown off by the end of it, and you nailed it, bud.
That happened.
Right? It's like you nailed that part. Like, it's just, yeah, man, everyone is who we thought they were. Like, that's what it was. There was no surprise in this. I didn't feel like I don't think that me personally felt anything in this game. Positive, negative. I didn't really give a shit because I just knew it was coming, right? So like, there's a preparedness for you. I might have been angry that it was closer at the beginning than it had in a business bank. So it was just like, don't do this, you pieces of shit. Don't give me no fucking false hope. Like, what is this nonsense? But yeah, but even before any of that, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thanksgiving,
like,
guys.
that's what it was. Thanksgiving was lovely, even though I completely was antisocial and ran downstairs during the prayer. I had my phone out and watched the game. And then as soon I made sure everybody went and got food first. Mm-hmm. I looked around. I guess I could have figured out a seat and brought a seat over to a table, but I was like, no seats. And I ran downstairs to the basement to go watch the game by myself.
There you go.
That's what it is. But yeah, fuck it, man. It was bad all the way around. Dallas was fucking up more than we were doing anything to stop them. And then they finally got the wheels kind of turning by the end of the game. But I never felt as though we were in control at all at any given point in time. I'm out on everybody, pretty much. The Eric Bieniemy thing at this point is like, I liked what I saw from the running game at certain points in this game, but he waited until week 11 to install a running game that I've been begging for all season. And now we're here and it's a little too late. And what the fuck are you going to do with that run game if you are going to be down by fucking Dallas Cowboys? Like, what?
Yeah,
like, we were controlling time possession at one point. Like, it was like, okay, this is the game plan. This is what you're supposed to do. And I was happy with it. But overall, I mean, I was just at a point where, like, I don't know about you guys, but I just want a clean slate.
Yeah, I think we all want a clean slate. And again, I'm not even going to give you my thoughts on the game. I'll give you my dad's thoughts on the game, actually, because like I said, I think I mentioned this in the last episode, that the Dallas Cowboys Thanksgiving Day game, it falls in the middle of the day. So you end up getting more people watching it than normal, right? And so my dad used to be a huge football fan, specifically 49ers football fan, spent some time in the Bay Area, stuff like that. So watched Joe Montana. He's used to the best of the best, if you will. And he's watching our defense, right? And he sees CeeDee Lamb running wide open and Dak misses him. Mm-hmm. And then I can't remember who the second receiver was, might have been Tolbert, and he misses him. Mm. And I go, hey, if Dak is going to keep missing like this, we may have a chance here. And my dad goes, hey, he only needs to hit about 1 in 10 of these. And if they just keep it, like, that's enough. And so he immediately knew this is the first drive for Dallas. And it ended up being, he was like, you guys are in huge trouble. Yep. So for him to recognize it immediately was like, okay, even he, like, you know, it was very damning. So why don't we go ahead, talk about Jack Del Rio being fired once again. The team released not one, but 2 statements. One was from Ron Rivera directly, where he said, I have relieved Jack Del Rio and DB's coach, Brent Vieselmeyer, apologies, I don't know how to pronounce it. Won't need to moving forward. But both got Brent V, Jack Del Rio, both got let go. Ron Rivera took full responsibility for it. And then a little bit later, Josh Harris and the ownership group put out a statement as well, saying these were Ron's recommendations. Now, you might be a bit skeptical about that, right? Because you go, okay, well, ownership must have pressured him, must have done this, must have done that. Rap Sheet came out and said that they want to be able to evaluate Ron at the end of the season. And I think this would probably be part of the evaluation. What does Ron Rivera do after allowing the 45-10 result to occur, right? Being the head guy, what is he going to do? Ron Rivera had a press conference where he talked about this stuff. Here's what he said. And he's honest to a fault. I think we can all agree that sometimes we're like, Ron, please shut up. Please don't say that. What he did say were a couple things that caught my attention. I think 3 things total. One, that he reached out to Josh Harris and made this recommendation. 2, the reason he made this move is because he felt things were snowballing at the end. I could not agree with him more. This team quits in the fourth quarter. You've seen the fourth quarter stats. You've seen how a game can be close and then the other team just blows the doors off of us. It snowballs. He is correct. And 3, he is not at all involved in the offense. He's not at all involved in the offense moving forward either. He's now going to be calling the defensive plays. This is very much to me, by title alone, it's Ron Rivera. He's going to be the guy that's going to be giving the press conferences at the end of the game. This is a 1A, 1B thing. 1A, clearly Ron. 1B, assistant head coach Eric Bieniemy, who is fully in charge of the results of the offense. And I think Ron wanted to make that quite clear. So, wanted to give my thoughts on it. That I do think Ron did this, and I do think that it bought him a little time. Is it to the end of the season? We'll see. I think it's likely, but we'll see. K-Dot, what were your thoughts?
Long overdue as far as Jack being gone. Everything that Ron is saying about Jack has stood the test of time since he's been here, really. Like we've talked about the up and down as far as the defense. You get ranked 20-something, then you're top 5. 20-something, then you're top 5. Now 30-something. And I think I've alluded to it even last episode where it seems like the team itself just feels kind of checked out. Like it just doesn't feel like everybody's just. And the thing, I don't see it just at the end of games. I think at the end of games is where it gets bad because you have another team building confidence with another team against the team, our team, that just doesn't have any, right? So like by the end of it, there's just a demoralized feeling, and it's like I just want to go home. And that's what it just felt that way. Like even during this Thanksgiving game, it's just it does feel all the time like they're just there. It's a do your job mentality when doing your job is not enough, and that's just kind of where it comes down to. I just feel like everybody's. It's hard pressed for me to say that. Like these guys are professional athletes that work their fucking asses off to get to the point where they're at. I couldn't fathom doing the things they do to get to the positions that they're at. But I think that there's a human element to where you are anywhere, where you feel a negative vibe, where you don't necessarily believe in what it is you're doing, where you don't believe in the people around you, you don't believe in the higher ups, and you kind of lose sight of it.
I also want to add, and I think this needs to be said because oftentimes we get after the coaches, right? And we will continue to do so because Ron's been here for 4 years. Jack was here for 4 years. They're completely accountable for that. I don't see a recognized leader on this defense, right? Because when you continue to let the dam break and people look fairly disinterested, that is a lack of accountability from the player perspective. You need to be able to have somebody that you need to be able to take individual responsibility first and foremost. You're a professional. This is your job. We have a podcast where we're talking about your job. But the other thing is that if you're not going to have it to yourself, you should have it to the leader, right? You should have it to somebody where you go, for example, Jonathan Allen would not allow this. This wouldn't happen on Jonathan Allen's watch, for example. Now, the highlighted example that will continue for history, at least for like the Baltimore Ravens, for example, Ray Lewis. If Ray Lewis is on the field, you are guaranteed that the people around him are going to make sure they play hard, or else he is going to take their heads off. It's really that. It's someone like that where you go, hey, I cannot let up because I have a leader here that I cannot let down. Might not be the coach, but it's a player. And it's quite evident to me we have neither. So there's Del Rio. And then, we love John Allen here. He is often the vocal leader of the defense. But I don't see the accountability from the player perspective, K-Dot. And it's certainly the dam broke again yesterday. It broke again. And it is now time to look at the players too. I think we protect them a lot, but it is important to look at them.
Yeah, I mean, yes, there's a personal responsibility that comes with that. But I also say that a lot of exactly what it is you're talking about goes to roster building and coaches in a front office knowing who they have. Like, there is a lack of leadership in the sense of veterans that have a proven track record here with this organization that guys can look up to learn from. They don't have them. The one dude that was there in playing was Ryan Kerrigan, and they let him walk. Remember? Yeah. So it's like there's an element of like, there is roster construction that has to take that into consideration. You have to look at personalities more than just what it is the product is on the field. There are teams that do this all the time. They have teams that have these one or two dudes that are there that have been around on the line, maybe even a backup for 10 years, but they've been there for a Super Bowl run. We don't have that. You're talking about the guys who are the most talented on the team are also looking at probably the leaders. Jonathan Allen, who has a Pro Bowl under his belt, right? So like there's the element of that, but there's like, all right, what's your success? What's your track record? Why do I follow you? And even John Allen, like you hear him on the Junkies Weekly, and he speaks like a leader. We love hearing from him at times, right? But then there's also like, if you look at Jonathan Allen, the way he does things, it's very different than like a Chase Young style of when he tries to do leadership. Chase Young seems like he's trying to emulate more of like the Ray Lewis rah type, and it doesn't seem like it gels with the guys in the locker room, or it didn't gel with the guys in the locker room, because you just don't see that kind of back and forth with these guys. I haven't really seen that. This defense or this team itself lacks an attitude.
But you know why? Like, because that leader also needs to produce. And that's part of it too, right? Because when for example, when Chase Young had a good rookie season, we were like, okay, then we start talking about his leadership. We didn't talk about it when he was off the field, or like not nearly as much, or he wasn't playing well. We weren't like, well, he's at least a good leader. We weren't talking about that. We were talking about him freelancing at times. We were talking about him being out of position. This is what occurs.
I would agree with you, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And the offensive side of the ball is where I look at a guy like Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin is known as the leader of there's a leader of these guys. He's the one that wrangled everybody to go meet Eric Bieniemy at the press conference, right? Like he's that dude. I know you can't. Yeah, I know everything that they show on TV, the little snippets that we get are just a microcosm, not even a microcosm. You don't know what to make out of it, and it's out of context, right? But I will say there's a difference between what I'm seeing Terry McLaurin when they show the wide receivers bench, and he's sitting by himself, usually after he hasn't gotten a few catches or hasn't gotten a few targets, and it's Jahan and Curtis are kind of laughing it up and talking, and Terry's not really doing anything. And it's like, I feel as though there's an element of the way this season has gone as far as Terry. It's been an extremely disappointing season for him personally, performance-wise. He hasn't had the same opportunities he typically gets. They've been trying to feed him more as the season goes on, but when you talk about like you got to be productive, if you're not having a productive season, you're not really that involved in the offense, and then you want to rah be the leader on the sidelines, I think it almost feels awkward for some guys. I just don't think that there's a cohesiveness with this team, with this roster that allows them to kind of build off each other's energies, or to have a guy be the leader and they follow or want to follow this guy in the battle. It just doesn't exist.
Excellently said. And I think that now transitions to, well, what is success from here, K-Dot, right? So we have Ron Rivera now calling the defense. We know this. He said so. That is what's happening now. We have Eric Bieniemy calling the offense, and we know Ron's fingerprints are not going to be on the offense at all. So it's actually quite a clean structure for us as fans to be able to go, the defense, that's Ron Rivera. The offense, that's Eric Bieniemy. What does success look like now? And let's begin with the defense because Del Rio has been let go.
What does success look like?
Yeah.
Not being fucking last place. Like the bar is low as shit, right? So like on defense right now, I want to see the units kind of move I want to see them move like a unit. Like I want to see the defensive line doing things that I haven't seen them do this season, which is working off of each other to get pressure, right? I want to see more than this vanilla fucking defensive schemes or this one trick pony bullshit where it's just, I'm going to do this over and over and over again. Hopefully it works. And it's usually not that it's working. It's that the offense that we're facing is just fucking up, as your dad so eloquently saw fucking
immediately.
Right. So like you see it and you're just like, yeah, they're not going to keep missing that. Like, you know that they're not going to keep missing that. Or you get a couple penalties break your way and it's like, if it wasn't for that, we'd be in trouble.
And even then, remember the 2nd and 25? I had zero faith that we were actually going to stop them. They ended up getting 18 yards. It was a penalty on us. It was offside. And then they just converted so easily.
You know it's going to happen, right?
So that's like where we're at. Right.
So like when it comes to Ron and what is going on the defense is like, I don't know. My success for me when it came to this team has changed. I mean, I've kind of had the same thing going for this entire season, which is I've looked at this season as evaluation, right? I don't think there's anything Ron Rivera can do, in my opinion, to keep his job. I do think I did mention like a few weeks ago that there's a narrative that I could potentially see on the fringes that Ron's back next year. I don't think the fan base would be cool with it. And I think Josh Harris would have to make a decision based on that alone, is that he might lose the fan base if he fucking brings him back. But there is an element of, if Ron, not fuck Jack, Jack's gone, fuck Jack. If Ron is doing things in the best interest of the team long term, if the defense does miraculously turn around in the next few weeks, and we got some hell of opponents coming up, like the fucking Dolphins coming, what the fuck you gonna do with Tyreek Hill?
That Hard Knocks episode is going to be very fun to watch. Objectively,
right? So like, what are you gonna do, and what adjustments are you gonna make for that? If the defense comes out swinging, right, and the offense, I've had my issues as far as the run game. Eric Bieniemy's gotten better on that. Sam Howell has looked pretty good most of the season. Last game, I won't put it all on him. It's just everybody had a pretty bad game against Dallas, to be expected. Can I see a situation where they're like, Ron's got 1 year left on the deal? He's been very, very good as far as what it is that he's doing a good job with the defense, at least the last quarter of the season. Let him keep the defense, let Eric keep the offense, and let's run it back. We'll attack free agency and clear up some of this stuff. Ron, you no longer have anything to do with what's happening as far as from a GM standpoint. Martin Mayhew, you're out the fucking door. Let's see what we can do if we infuse some talent here in this. Can I see that? Yeah, but I don't want it.
Here's what I can see very clearly. I don't see any way the GMs come back. Marty Hurney, Martin Mayhew, I think that's clear as day.
Gone.
When you have Emmanuel Forbes being benched over and over again, when you have Quan Martin hardly playing, and then he finally does, it doesn't look very good. Cole Turner gets a catch, looks nice.
Yep.
Should he be playing more? There's not enough performance and success from the recent draft classes. There isn't. That's them, right? So you can't hold on to those guys. I think that's a very easy, quick evaluation. Can I see Ron coming back? Yes, actually. Here's success on the defense. And we're going to start easy, but it's not easy. 4 straight quarters of not quitting. Literally just at the very beginning, showing a bit of a spark where you finish the game, where you don't let up 14 to 21 to 28 points in the fourth quarter. I'll settle for 7. Like literally the goalposts have moved so far. We were talking about potentially a top 5 defense before the season started. Here we are. But that's the reality. Sometimes the goalposts need to shift. So for me, I just want to see 4 good quarters, nice things, and especially that fourth quarter. Don't quit. Do not quit. On the offensive side of the ball, Ron Rivera had also mentioned complementary football, and I had a much cleaner understanding, I feel like, this time listening to it, having watched the game yesterday, where you cannot put your defense in awful situations. For example, when you have a 3rd and 1, you're taking a deep shot, 4th and 1, okay, fine. Now we're running it. You almost resign to it, and then you don't get it. Like on the offense, I want to see consistency. He said as much. Ron Rivera did. Once again, I thought he killed this press conference. The 7.5 minute clip that the Commanders put out, honestly, the best I've seen from Ron Rivera in 4 years.
Are you backing on Ron?
No. But what I'm willing to do is admit that there was a bright spot for 7.5 minutes that I didn't think was still there, Right. So it was refreshing to see. I do truly believe he made this move. Am I back in? No. But on the offensive side of things, learn to convert a 3rd and 1, learn to convert a 4th and 1. This idea of being in shotgun. Here's another idea. You have Jacoby Brissett. He's huge, right? What is he? 6'4", 6'5", maybe even 6'6", 2 something. Run a sneak. He's big enough to do it. Like it doesn't need to be Sam in. You use what you can to be able to move the offense forward, to move the defense forward. There is nothing wrong, in my opinion, with allowing Jacoby Brissett a couple plays here and there on short yardage situations. He can either sneak it, he can run a play action if he wants to. He's a competent QB in this league. We know this. So if that's your solution, I want them to look at solutions for the short yardage situations. It cannot feel like it's 3rd and 8 when it's 3rd and 1. So success moving forward is sustaining drives in short yardage situations. I'm going easy here, right? But defense is literally just 4 quarters where you don't quit, and offense is short yardage situations. Show me you can convert, because if you can't, I don't want you here next season. That's it. Any final thoughts?
What do you think? Do you think this is? Do you think you'll see it?
As of now, no.
Right.
As of right now, no. Actually, it's funny. As of right now, I have more confidence in the defense putting together 4 quarters where they just don't quit, because this is sort of a kick in the ass where your defensive coordinator is gone, secondaries coach is gone. You can maybe feel a little more loose. You've seen juice in the past for the first couple games after something like that. On the offense, I think we are what we are. I think there is no faith in our ability to be able to convert short yardage situations. I really like Brian Robinson, but if they can't block, then it doesn't matter. It does not matter. And I think that the enemy calls it such that we can't. And I think he goes, I want to take a deep shot because I feel like it, so we're going to do it. It's very puzzling at times. He started off strong, I thought, in the game, and then I have no idea what the plan was after that.
I've been saying it. It's an ineffective run scheme along with a lack of desire to want to do it.
You've been proven more and more correct with each passing game. I literally thought of you yesterday while watching. I was like, wow, this is the worst run scheme I've ever seen.
Terrible run scheme.
And it's so antithetical to our identity as a franchise, right? We are smash mouths. We have a good offensive line. We're able to beat you up in the trenches. We can't recognize this team as fans because of that.
The thing, it's like the combination of those two things in the offense to me has always been the thing. So like,
I know I got you in your feels. I apologize.
No. I remember being when me and you used to get into it last season about the Taylor Heineke stuff. It was the Taylor Heineke Carson Wentz stuff. And I remember I screamed at you. This is a game before Carson Wentz just completely stabbed me in the goddamn back, you talentless prick. But it was one of those things where I was like, Taylor Heineke makes it so much harder on himself because he doesn't make the right reads. He always does. I still stand by all that stuff with Taylor Heineke as much as I love him, right? Eric Bieniemy and this offense and what they're doing for Sam Howell is making life so much harder for everyone involved because it's not a cohesive offense. The idea that Taylor Heineke was getting more out of his receiver, or out of this receiving talent than like this scheme is, with the amount of time that we're throwing the fucking football, is nuts to me. The idea that you have a guy in Sam Howell who's not afraid to make any throw, period, point blank, and a lot of times, more often than not, those throws are fucking on the money, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have that weapon in your cachet, then there needs to be a more balanced attack to you take advantage of those things, right? Like, that's something that we've been craving here in Washington for fucking years. It's almost as I'm gonna regret fucking saying this. I promise you I'm gonna regret saying this. I almost wanted to see what Scott Turner could do with this motherfucking kid. Like, I'm being fully honest, man. There is an element of like, can you imagine if we were doing this? Because once again, like I said, going in the Dallas game, the best defense is going to be running the ball and keeping the ball out of Dallas' hands, right? And for the longest time in the game, it was kind of working, right? And then they just abandoned it. Well, I mean, the score got a little out of hand, but they just abandoned it. Scott Turner could do one thing probably above all else, which is just rely on, I'm going to run the ball. The thing is, like, he didn't have the quarterback, so it was really a choice to do it. And I still don't think his passing schemes were there. But if Scott Turner was in here as like the run game coordinator and said, hey, this is what we have to do. We have to queue it up. We got to give these guys their carries. This team looks very different. Because that's the other thing that we're not taking into account as much as we need to over the course of the season is, and I know you've alluded to it, I've alluded to it, you probably alluded to it more point blank. The lack of run is absolutely impacting what the defense is doing. You can't have this defense on the field as often as it is. Tired of shit. When you're throwing the ball at this clip, the likelihood for turnovers goes up. The likelihood that you're not taking enough time off the clock, of course, is there, because every incompletion tops the fucking clock. And the likelihood that you're getting 3 outs because you're not doing what you need to do to set up to get the third and shorts. And then because you don't have a run scheme, or when you do get in a running formation, it's out of shotgun, because that's your running formation and everyone knows where it's going to. You're not going to convert. So if you don't convert, the defense goes right back out there. And that's what you said Ron was saying, complementary football, right? There was an element of this team last year and the year before that the offense and the defense worked so much better together. It was just lack of quarterback talent.
The highlight was the Eagles game on the road, where we gave them their first loss. That was peak complementary football and maximizing what we had, showing that you can hang with these teams. But this year, just back to the Del Rio point, who have we played, man? Like, we've played Tommy DeVito. It's to the point I can't make the joke anymore because he lit us up, right? I can't say Danny DeVito. It's Tommy DeVito. And now I recognize him as it's a joke. And then we let Dak continue. Dak has had a good season, of course, but he was missing so often, but these receivers are yards open. And I haven't seen another team have yards open wide receivers quite like this Commanders
team.
The
yards of separation is insane.
And then on the flip side, on the offense, there's not that much separation, but guess what? And this is again to the point we're both alluding to, they know what's coming. So it's like, okay, I know that what I'm going to be doing is marking Jahan Dotson on this play. I know there's little to no chance that he's going to be blocking. I'm not sure he even knows how to, given how little they run it. And so all I need to do is focus on locking him up. It's one-dimensional thinking. It's super easy to do if you're a defense. And so that's where we're at. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, the thing is, like, if we're looking at overall the rest of this season, and they made the move as far as Jack Del Rio, I think it's been a long time coming. My problems with Jack Del Rio right now have existed for 2 years now. Every time that we finish in the top 5 defensively, I feel like I can't go as hard in the paint against Jack Del Rio as I wanted to, because you finished top 5, so shut the fuck up, right? But it has always been the same issues I have, the slow starts, all this kind of shit. I think what's the difference is this year compared to any other year is that the offense was not there to bail him out or the defense out and help in any way, shape, or form. And we saw what it is they are. But offensively for the rest of this season, I'm at the point where I'm completely cool with clearing house. And the reason I'm completely cool with clearing house is that I love Eric Bieniemy. I'm rooting for Eric Bieniemy. I think it's important for a Black coordinator to have the success that he had, to be a head coach. I think it's important. That being said, I have not seen enough, and I care a lot less about Sam Howell learning this system if this system is broken.
Yeah,
another year.
I'm leaning more into the idea that Eric Bieniemy has been coaching for himself and not for the team, if that makes sense. I've mentioned it in the past about how he's calling certain things so that he can say, for example, right, this is a 4-8 team, 4-8 football team that just lost its defensive coordinator. I have the NFL leader in passing yards. I can say that. I do think a lot of it is I'm going to put up the numbers I can because this is a QB-centric league, and I'll be able to get my head coaching job. It feels an awful lot like he's coaching for himself and himself only. As it currently stands, K-Dot, he won't. And so anyway, that could maybe be an after the pod topic, but we're going to go over to the comment mailbag where we have quite a few comments, and we really appreciate you guys, and a happy Thanksgiving to all of you once again, and appreciate you guys listening. A lot of these came before the game. Some came immediately after the game. I think maybe only one came after Del Rio was fired. So I don't believe that there are any sort of comments about the Del Rio firing. That's what this video is for. So please comment on the next one. This one. We're going to start with the Hawk TV shout out. Now it's 3-4 straight videos now. Appreciate it.
Hawk.
Happy holidays, District Divided, and prayerfully your bellies are full and content. Really appreciate that. I think it's important for Washington to play sound football on defense and stop the run. We did not do that. Secondary must not receivers get behind them. We did not do that. Furthermore, EB is on the hot seat. Well, now we're talking. Our offense can put up points and is able to contend on paper. However, play calling of Madden versus real life are totally different. Spot on, Hawk TV. Really appreciate the comment there, as we were just talking about with Eric Bieniemy. And as we were talking about much earlier about the defense and allowing these receivers to be yards open and an inability to stop the run, Rico Dowdle is all of a sudden a name we need to worry about. Tony Pollard did his thing as always.
We concur.
And then we go over to Sydney Curry with a couple different
Dowdle
comments.
did win me $10.
We're going to move on to Sydney Curry. I can't celebrate that. I'm obligated not to. Good for you.
This is the first time I've ever bet against Washington ever. I had no worries about it ever.
Maybe we'll talk after the pod about making some money on this team. No. Washington going. Oh, okay. So yeah, the two comments. This is the first one. Washington going to find any way to lose. They play so what? 1 half, 2 half. After that, they slowed down. Okay, so they play good in the first half. Second half, after that, they slow down. Sam Howell, watch, he's going to throw at least 2 interceptions, maybe 2 fumbles. That's how they do. Appreciate the comment. It was just the 1 interception, but it was a pretty devastating interception considering the history of it, which is now super annoying because that's going to be played a whole bunch and we're going to see the turkey. It's annoying.
The worst part was that after the breaking of Sam Howell's ankles on the run back was doubly embarrassing.
I'm going to now say something that maybe some people disagree with. If I was Sam, if I was anyone near him, because we did get a chance to tackle him, I would have yanked the shit out of his face mask. It's not me. I'm not going to be the person to give this up. Starts a little brawl, see some fight in the team. Would have loved that. I would have yanked his neck off. Anyway, and then that sounded weird. Forgot cannot keep a lead. They blow it every time. Dallas in Dallas. No way Jerry is not having it. They want to eat a good dinner, and they started to in the middle of the fourth quarter and have that win in their day. And so that's exactly what happened. Appreciate the 2 comments there. Sydney Curry, spot on. Then we go over to Vindo, who has a couple comments, one in the middle and then one at the end. It will be closer than you think. How close did you think it was going to be, K-Dot?
I think my final score was
42-20, I think.
Yeah, 42-20.
Apparently further, and I said 34-24 with a backdoor cover. Neither of those things happened, unfortunately. But ultimately will lose. But ultimately will lose. Coaches lost the locker room, honestly. And this speaks to the quitting that we're seeing specifically from the defense in the fourth quarter. And honestly, the offense with some of the pick sixes the last couple of weeks. Back-to-back weeks with the pick six we've allowed.
I just thought maybe we needed Taylor Heineke.
The thing about Taylor, before we move on to the next, because I was quiet. They believed more. He was a guy with very good charisma and leadership skills, just with bang average talent, if that. And so we personally resonated with it. We were like, you know what? This is awesome. At least it's fun to watch this guy. We know we're not going to the Super Bowl. We don't know what the heck's going to happen. But what we do see is a guy that fucking cares. And we see a 110% Terry McLaurin, because every single time we played a game, Terry was like, I'm that dude. I remember when he made the catch in Indy over Stephon Gilmore. This is my city. Like, it was so.
When's the last time we've seen that from Taylor? From Terry?
Well, you said it. You answered it yourself by accident when Taylor was here. And so then we go over to Earl Bruce. Shout out Earl. From what I've seen from this team, they will be crushed on Thanksgiving. 0 for 5 in the division. Woohoo. Let's get that top 5 pick. I'm going to include the next comment from Tony before we talk about the top 5 pick. Shout out Tony. Tony. That's what you do. The longer we keep coaches, the higher we move up in the draft. And once again, this was said, and appreciate you, Tony. This was said before the shellacking that we took on Thanksgiving Day, and now Jack Del Rio is gone. I will once again echo the point. I am a Sam Howell truther. I do believe he can be a good QB in this league, and I really don't want Bo Nix. I haven't seen the rest of the draft board. I just know I don't want Bo Nix. That is it. K-Dot, the top 5 pick discussion, stuff like that. We got a few games left, of course. Where do you stand on that?
Brock Bowers.
No. We need an offensive line.
Hey,
you love tight ends.
About it?
This is what you do.
Yeah.
This is what you do. You love your tight ends.
I do.
And you are going to continue to be enamored by them until we take one. Okay,
hang on.
You're right.
The guy we hired, the analytics guy, I don't know if you've gotten a chance. I think I mentioned it on the podcast, but he gave I forget his name, but the dude that we hired,
Eugene. Call him Eugene for now.
He gave like an hour and a half TED talk on why tight end is the most valuable position in all of football outside of quarterback, and it made me feel special.
Okay, so you were 6 to midnight listening to that.
Oh, fuck yeah. All over the walls, bro. She's fucking like, it's crazy.
So we've got you all over the walls. You got me yanking necks. We need.
I'm telling you, tight end matters because they can block, which we need, and they can also catch the ball. There's safety valve.
I know, but the core. If you have a shaky foundation, you can't even evaluate people.
If Eric Bieniemy's coming back, we need a fucking tight end.
That is a much deeper conversation I'm not emotionally ready for at this time. We're going to go ahead and go to Blood Clot. And once again, Tony, appreciate the comment. And Earl Bruce, appreciate the comments there. Blood Clot. The wheels have completely fallen off. This is after the loss. We are officially browsing mock drafts at 1 a.m. like a creep. There's a rumor that Allen and JDR were having it out on the sidelines. Probably. Honestly, if there's a rumor about it and it was coming from decent sources within the organization or just the reporters or just even fans, I mean, 45-10, I would hope something was happening on the sidelines because, again, on the other sideline, they were beginning the main course. Like, that's literally what was happening in the middle of the game. I've never... Rich, wear your helmet at. Eating turkey legs on the sideline was hilarious levels of disrespect. See how this comment mailbag flows? This is you guys. I don't know if you guys coordinate with each other, but it flows perfectly because that was the most disrespectful thing. You had mentioned, K-Dot, that you didn't really feel anything during the game. And I agreed. And my dad was like, aren't you mad? Like, aren't you upset? Like what the, and I was like, no. I knew what was going to happen. I'm good. The moment Dak pulled out the turkey leg, all of a sudden, I think there were some pretty silent emotions in there, boiled up a little bit. And I was like, not particularly pleased about that. Now all of a sudden I'm subconsciously gritting my teeth. Then Deron Bland has the pick 6. Then they're in the salvation. I'm like, okay, you know what? And then I thought about your disclaimer and I calmed down as much as I could. That was embarrassing. That was incredibly disrespectful.
So quickly, the only thing that usually pisses me off on Thanksgiving outside of family bullshit, and the cast of people that came to my family Thanksgiving was amazing. So no drama, people, which was great.
Congratulations.
I was probably the most dramatic person there. So beyond all those things, the only thing that pissed me off more than anything else being in this area on Thanksgiving more than any other thing are Thanksgiving Day drivers. They fucking suck. You got the tourists that come out of town. You got people that never usually drive. They got like family full. They're all fucking distracting. It's shitty as fuck. I watched the fourth quarter while driving. Hope the insurers are not paying attention to me. I had to go pick up my girlfriend, and so I had the phone and was watching. The drivers were still pissing me off more than anything that was happening with the turkey legs. It did not. I knew we were gonna lose bad, and it's Thanksgiving.
I have never seen.
You know what pissed me off? Dolly Parton wearing the stars. That made me more angry.
I was making mashed potatoes at halftime, so I didn't see it.
I love Dolly. I just hate when she wears that. Those stupid fucking Cowboys.
It was very disrespectful. I've never seen a team do that especially in the NFL. We're going to go over to Vindo.
It's a rivalry. They deserved it.
That's a good point. If it was us doing it, it would have been awesome. It would have been awesome if it was us.
5 minutes ago that if you were Sam Howell, you would have ripped Ron Bland's face clear off of his fucking body.
I did say that. You're right. I started caring a lot. Have some fucking pride. Anyway, we're going to go ahead to Vindo. I wanted to mention his comment.
Man, you want to eat turkey? Earn it, motherfuckers. Earn it.
You think? Anyway. We're gonna go to Vindo, and he's mentioning a stat here that I also saw and wanted to bring up. But once I saw that you commented this, Vindo, wanted to give this to you and appreciate this comment because this is a pretty damning one. Coming into the game last night, a team with, did you see this, K-Dot? With 100 or more rushing yards, 250 or more passing yards, 1 turnover or less, 35 minutes or more of time of possession, and less than 25 yards in penalties. 57 games played, 57 games won over the last 25 years. We accomplished all of this and lost by 35. Thank you, Jack Del Rio and Eric Bieniemy. And they fired Del Rio, and the DB coach after that embarrassing loss on national TV literally left a sour taste after a great Thanksgiving dinner. Appreciate that comment, Vindo. That was, a shocking statistic where there was a lot of outrage amongst the fan base. And then you get that stat and it's like, oh my God. Like everyone was like, this team continues to break hysterical records, allow hysterical records to be broken. It's been a tough season, K-Dot. The apathy had set in. The turkey legs brought it back out. These stupid emotions.
I've been out after week 2, 3. I think
we could be out after week 2. We were 2-0. We were talking about the Bills game. We're like, hey, if we win this, who knows? What a time.
Dude,
what a time.
I just remember we didn't beat Arizona handedly. We had to come back against Denver. It was not I did like unless we're revisionist history. I don't believe that I thought this team was gonna. I was like, all right, the offense is moving.
Well, so that's why the Bills game was interesting to us. Because we were like, okay, well, we know the Bills are a good football team. So, like, if we beat them.
But to me, it was poking. It was like, all right, is the offense here? Offense might be here. Hold on, they're not running the ball. That's a little bit of a concern. Let's keep going.
Right.
Defense, are you going to do something? Defense, poke. You going to do something? You going to do something? Hey, guys. Then Chicago happened.
Oh, boy.
And then it was
that was the whiskey sour solo episode.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
That after Chicago happened, that was this is gonna be one of them years. Okay.
I'm still cracking up at hey, K-Dot, can you record right now? No, I can't right now, bro. Okay, cool. I'm going solo. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.
No, you told me after the fact.
Oh, that's true. I just put it out there.
You just didn't. You couldn't not do it. You're just like,
because
like,
I sat on the couch for an hour and I was like tapping my foot and I look like this and I was like, I'm getting the microphone.
I get the text. I get the text with the episode link and I'm like, oh, he did it. Yeah, remember where you were back then. Okay, this is who this team is this year. True. It's just what it is.
That's true.
This year was an
I should rewatch that episode for myself. Anyway.
Remember, we said at the beginning of the season, or like I don't know if I said it on this podcast or the other podcast I had, which was that if we had a similar record, even if it's 1 or 2 games less than last year, as far as the win total compared to this year, it was a smashing success because of how easy our schedule was last year compared to the schedule this year.
Yes.
It's not a smashing success.
Nope, not at all. Not at all. But still a few games left to turn that around potentially. Let's be real. It's probably not.
There's 2 potential wins.
This is District Divided, DC Sports Podcast, more specifically a Washington Commanders podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening to the episode today. And sorry again about our stupid team and how bad they are. I am Amit. That is K-Dot. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Looking at you, Sam Sullivan. Comment as you always do. And K-Dot.
Share this shit.
Share this shit. Appreciate you guys. Enjoy after the pod begins right now. I'm all right now. I think it was a very fun episode where it was. Now I'm thinking back to the Bears thing because that was pretty funny. That is the first time ever. I think one of us is going like, fuck it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna just do it. This is ridiculous.
The Bears game, I was angry. I was angry at the Bears game. It was the third.
Were.
It was extremely frustrating because I think back then it wasn't that I thought that this team was even going to make the playoffs past a certain point. Look, I know we did the you could look it up, the YouTube short that we did where we rapid fire went through the entire season.
I did see that the other day, by the way.
We both had him in like 10. I think we had him in like 10,
we had him 10 wins.
10 wins.
We both had him in the playoffs in our preseason predictions.
I think I had us beating Dallas on Thanksgiving.
So you did.
Like, it's just how quickly this shit changes. And I am completely okay with being wrong about the predictions on this team because they disappointed in more ways than you could ever imagine. And I think what you can never take into consideration is when people check out. And I just think right now there's just an element of like people are checked out. I find it extremely hard to believe that these guys are going to play harder for Ron. Like it's one thing that like when you're making a change like what they did in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
You go from a guy who everyone fucking hates in Josh McDaniels to a dude that's on the staff that everyone knows even more intimately and personally. And is like, okay, we're rooting for this guy. We're going to go play hard for this dude, right?
Right.
Ron Rivera is the dude who seems as though the longer he's gone on here in Washington, the less he has to do with any of the fucking players, right? I don't even talk to him at halftime. Let them do that. There is also, like, even when he first got here, Ron Rivera was the last straw that broke the Trent Williams camelback, right? Like, it was him not realizing this is a star. He's already earned his bones. He's a dude that you might have to coddle in order to keep. And he refused to do it. Just spoke to, okay, very early on, this is not going to be the type of player coach that maybe even we saw in the videos in Carolina. She's not going to be the same thing. Yeah. Maybe it's because he thought with the mantle that he was taking, which was different in Carolina, where he had full control over everything, he needed to have some sort of separation. I don't know. There might be something to that. There might be even that might be something you should do if you're going to have that much say over roster control, right? I don't love the GMs being buddy with the players.
But he also hired them, right? Ron hired the GMs, which is also a very interesting. It's pretty rare to see the coach hire the GM. So anyway, but this is all because there was what do we want to call it? I'm thinking way too much about this, but basically the transition in ownership, there was a whole lot where we didn't really know what exactly was going on. There was some writing on the wall for Snyder for a little while there. That is an aside. What I wanted to say is that I don't know that they're necessarily going to play better for Ron. But what I do think occurs here, K-Dot, is that this is an opportunity. Look, this is a nationally televised game. They would have felt something. It's true. I mean, when you have that many eyes on you, right? Even if you're apathetic, a little bit would have come out where it's just like, hey, that sucked. You can acknowledge as a player that sucked. Now the defensive coordinator has been fired. There are eyes on you like crazy. It's a moment to look in the mirror and go, I need to be better. And so I think from that perspective, and we have the extra couple days here, it is very much hey, what can I do? I've been not myself on the field, or I haven't been. It's a moment of reflection. And I'm more banking on that and going, I think these guys have enough NFL talent to be able to step up and put together 4 good quarters. I'm hopeful.
I don't see it.
I'm not sure I see it, but what I'm saying is that this is certainly an opportunity to be able to bounce, but I'm not sure it's going to be for Ron.
But here's the thing. Let's do this. Let's keep me and you honest with each other on this, okay? Outside of 2020, when Taylor Heineke miraculous has that hell of a game to take us, we make the playoffs with the losing record or whatever the fuck it is that we had, right? We win the division or whatever. What was some stupid?
Yeah, that's when Alex Smith was playing on one leg and was a statue at Philly. And funnily enough, Philly pulled Jalen Hurts to play Nate Sudfeld We end up winning the division. We like limped in. Alex Smith can't move, so then they go to Taylor Heineke to start the game against the Bucs. Yeah,
the Bucs, right? And then that almost goes our way. But if we're looking back through the course of the Ron Rivera era, when we need to do something, when we need to win, when they need to prove it to themselves, when they need to prove it to each other, when they need to do any of that, when have they ever showed up?
Well, it depends on how you define that.
So, 3 weeks ago, we were in playoff contention.
Yeah, because it's early in the season. Everyone's in playoff contention.
I get it, but I'm saying that, and we had easy fucking opponents, like games that you just got to show up for, right?
I would say this is the worst it's been.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Under Ron, right? So, I don't want that to gloss over the other years that have not been good, and we've acknowledged that. Last year, we had an after the pod where I just blatantly said, I don't want Ron to be our coach.
Yeah.
That's it. In the middle of the season, I was like, I think it's past him, etc. But those were still better than what we're seeing right now.
Oh, 100%. But there was a lot of there were built-in excuses for Ron, right? COVID, quarterback injuries, this, that, and the other.
Surviving cancer.
All of these things, right? But this year, there's no excuses. You had the entire roster, you had everything you wanted, and this is what happens. You guys had a cap space, you had other things you could do. You decided not to do them. Right. You drafted every guy that you wanted to draft. And these are the results we have. It's on you. I look at this team and I'm like, I don't know why they would play harder for a dude that doesn't seem like he's going to be here.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. And on offense, also, if we're looking at what I've been saying, and once again, I don't know Terry McLaurin. I hate if you're watching this, Terry, I'm not trying to speak on your behalf. I'm not trying to read anything any more than it needs to be.
Love if Terry was in the after the pod section right now.
That'd be hilarious.
Shout out Terry McLaurin if you're here right now. Go ahead.
You're a god if you fucking do it.
We fucking love you. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't see a dude that's going to play hard for Eric Bieniemy. I don't see any of these dudes being guys that are going to play hard for somebody or even light a fuck. All your jobs have been on the line the entire season. There's a new owner.
Yeah, but so every NFL game is an opportunity to put good film on. And so this is where I do enjoy listening to, I haven't listened to him in a while now, but Pat McAfee, I think, does a good job of illustrating the locker room, right? Where he goes, hey, just because we know the coach isn't going to be here next season doesn't mean we want our NFL lives to be over. And so when you end up quitting on the field,
but that's been the case all season. It's
bad film.
Yeah, but there's a difference between, hey, things are going bad right now, and there's a chance our coach could get fired at the end of the season, right? Compared to right now, it would take a miracle for Ron Rivera to keep his job.
Correct.
This has been the case the entire season. We all knew this going into this season. We knew that Ron was going to have to do something to keep his job, not to lose his job, to keep his job. All these players also know, especially after they jettisoned Chase Young, they jettisoned Montez Sweat. We don't have any allegiance to any of you guys.
Correct.
You need to fucking play. And since that point, none of them have done that.
Right. And so they are not playing well. I recognize that. What I'm saying is that moving forward, this could be a jolt where they go, hey, my future may not be here. May not be here, but it could be somewhere else. But if they continue playing the way they are. Why has that
changed? But why? But I'm saying, why do you think that jolt
exists? Because the priority of the situation's changed. Initially, it's about us. It's about the Washington Commanders. Now it's about me. It's about being able to have a job next season. If I am a defensive back, if I am a linebacker, if I am a lineman. It has changed to now it is about me and making sure I'm taking care of my shit. It was us. It was our playoff change.
I don't see how it's changed. I don't see how it changed.
I think that there's enough time for a mental shift to occur, and this was enough of a shock. Again, most people watching an NFL regular season game was this Thanksgiving Day game. Everyone's talking about Dallas right now. They're going to continue talking about Dallas right now.
Everybody saw Chicago game.
Yeah, but that's a Thursday. It is different. I'm telling you, it's different. It's also Dallas week.
We had every headline on ESPN for an entire day.
But are you saying that this is the same thing as the Chicago thing?
Yes, I'm saying that.
I'm saying it's different.
No, I'm saying that everything that has happened up until this point this season has been a thing where I've come on here every week talking about how why is no one playing with the urgency of knowing that your job is on the line? Why is no one knowing? Your ownership changed. These dudes aren't fucking stupid. Your ownership changed. The guys that are coming in have no allegiance to you. The only reason I could say that, like, and once again, nothing changed to me on this, is the lack of veterans being able to let the young guys know, like, hey guys, ownership just changed.
That's a very good point.
Like, there's that, but even if that's the case, right? No veteran popped up last week or this week that's going to school them on this. I don't see how any of them will take what happened just now and say that something different is going to happen. The only thing that they're thinking with this particular point in time, is Ron Rivera is actually thinking, I can do a better job than Jack did. That's it. That can literally be the only thing. I can do a better job with these guys. Maybe I can get to them in a way that Jack did. I can do better. That's it. That's literally got to be the only thing. None of the other variables have changed at all. These guys have all been trying to put stuff on paper for the new ownership. Ron Rivera knows that more than anything because he didn't survive the last time, right?
So this could be one of those things. And this is where the coaching comes in. And this is where that veteran leadership would come in. Okay, so for example, once again, I'm speaking to the mindset shift that is possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen, right? And I'm not saying that we're suddenly going to play better. I'm saying that it is possible. So I'm not ruling out the possibility that they could play better. For example, fair enough. And so we disagree. But for example, Jack Del Rio goes, right? That has happened. Brent Vieselmeyer gone. That's happened too. Sorry, I laughed just because the whole high school blood clot pointing that out was particularly funny. But now this opens the door to a conversation between, let's say, the leaders on defense. I'm still trying to figure out who they are. I believe it's John Allen, who will speak on behalf of the defense. Ron and John could talk, for example. Hey, I'm now here. I'm now calling these plays. He's a player's coach, right? So, like, what do we need to do? What do you see, John, that we can do better? For example, maybe we don't run man every single play.
That's the thing. I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying that, like, that part of it, I agree with. This is the chasm that we have as far as the what we're saying. I think Ron thinks he can do a better job. I think that Ron thinks he can connect to the players or get something out of the players that he's not getting. 100%. We're on board with that. The only and I'll even clarify, the only way that something changes is if Ron is right, and he can. Once I've been out on Jack Del Rio for a very long time.
You have.
I think Ron Rivera can be, if he taps into the guy that we know he was in Carolina and other places, being that player's coach kind of guy, then maybe there's something there. Maybe that's something that happens. But what I do not see is because Jack Del Rio got fired or because we lost to the Dallas Cowboys, that's a reason or an onus on anybody to play harder now than they did prior. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I do see what you're saying. I'm disagreeing. I do think that it can play a role. I don't know how big a role. I think the biggest role is going to be, does Ron actually chat with the players, figure out what can be done differently, if anything. If he continues to call the same defense, I don't expect a whole lot more to happen. They've already shown they're not very good at it. I don't think suddenly, for example, Percy Butler starts running faster. I actually think he's been all right, but like, I don't think suddenly Percy Butler's running faster. Oh, Jack Del Rio's gone, I'm going to run quicker. Like, I'm not saying that either.
No, I think what you're saying is that what I gained from what you're saying, this is what I was disagreeing with, and correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. What I was disagreeing was that you thought that Jack Del Rio is a wake-up call in the sense of these guys now know that they're playing for their jobs. Okay. I'm saying that particular part, that particular point is something that if it took that, I don't know why that changed anything in anybody's thought process.
Fair enough.
To what, because to me that variable has existed throughout the entire course of the season. And even if Ron, like I said, there's a lack of veterans on this team, there's a lack of people that have experienced things outside of what's just happening in Washington, right? Mm-hmm. If Ron has waited until now to then connect to the guys because he's gone through an ownership change.
But we've kind of seen it, right? Like, he doesn't talk to the players at halftime.
Once again, if it takes Ron saying, hey guys, Jerry Richardson and Carolina, I got ousted. And you guys need to know that you're playing for your jobs. I don't know if you guys understand that yet.
No, I know he's not going to say that.
But thing is, but if that's the case, right? I can say Ron, I'm not going to call Ron an idiot because I think Ron is loyal to a fault, and he's probably loyal to Jack Del Rio to a fault. Because once again, we think Ron's a good guy, right?
Yes.
But what I will say is if it took that for the players, they're fucking dumb.
And all I'm going to say, and now I'm going to seem like the bad guy, is I wouldn't be surprised if there were a few players.
I'd give them more credit than that, man. I just think they don't give a fuck. I think that they don't care if they stay here.
Well, then they're not going to be in the leagues. That's just how it's going to be.
I don't think that's the case, because I do actually think that there are people that look at this Washington team as they have for years. The thing is that people don't understand what Washington is, that people know that we are a talent factory. People also think that if we pluck this guy from here and put him somewhere else, he'll be great. You can look across the league for that.
Coaching perspective, it's been a while since this happened with players outside of Trent Williams, of course.
Preston Smith's still in Green Bay doing this fucking thing. Outside in Buffalo. I don't think
Preston's production exploded at Green Bay.
I'm not saying
I'll have to look. It was about what he was doing here. We liked him.
I'm not saying it exploded. I'm saying that people look at our players as guys that can contribute significantly better than they did here. I think that people look at here as the detriment to a player's success. I think that people look like, if you're a Bill Belichick, why does Bill Belichick kick the tires on Albert Hainsworth after we saw what Albert Hainsworth did here?
Well, he does that all the time. That's an interesting example only because he always takes the disgruntled veteran that has a lot of talent and thinks if he can get even a little bit, it's always a low contract. Anyway,
it's totally fair. But I'm saying that we have a lot of guys that end up leaving here to get their careers just don't end here. They go on to go somewhere else. A lot of them do more than a lot of places.
I would agree, but I would say that this particular defense, I'm not sure that's true.
I think that no, because I do think that when you're looking at it as far as that Jack Del Rio aspect of it, when I'm blaming him as far as the defense being top 5 to top 30, top 5 to top 30, right? My thing has always been Jack has relied on the physical gifts and talent that is on this defense. Yes. There is talent here. There's not a system in place nor an offense right now this year that is complementing that at all.
Yes.
My thing, if you're a talent evaluator in the NFL and you see that, you can look through this roster and say, God damn, I'd like a lot of the guys on this team if I could fucking get them out of this fucking system. Sure. Like, that's the thing. And I think that some of the guys might have those conversations. People don't want to come here. It's not the fact that like they don't want the players here or they don't want the coaches here. They don't want to be here historically, because here is where things go to die.
Historically. And with the ownership change, we'll end up seeing what happens. But it's,
and that to me is a scary
prospect. The mind is a very, very interesting thing, and you can change a lot very quickly. Yeah. When there are certain even subtle shifts that can occur. So I'm curious to see what
really fucking dumb to not believe. I don't know how anyone.
People, man, I'm not calling any of ours.
Well, we don't even play the game. We just watch. Like, how could you not? How could any one of us, just putting ourselves in a situation of players, right? How could not any one of us be so lack self-awareness to not think my job's on the line because the ownership has changed? When you hear that your company that you work for goes under new ownership, everyone freaks out.
Yeah.
Until we hear from
and then people settle into what they normally do.
Exactly.
Right.
But there's always that bump because the conversations happen, right? The water cooler talk is, the fuck is these new owners going to do when they get here, right? Are they going to keep everybody? Like, who the fuck is saying who's saying?
Well, I think initially that was probably more for the coaches than the players. The players were probably like, cool.
Everybody. But that's my thing is like, you got to have a self-awareness to know it's everybody.
Especially you do have to have the self-awareness. I agree.
But I don't think our guys are dumb outside of
I'm not calling them dumb.
Outside of one guy and I don't want to talk about it that much, but yeah.
We're not going to.
Sam Howell.
I just said we're not going to.
I love you, Sam.
I love Sam. Sam's the man. I still believe he should be the starter next season and continue to be. I thought he was. I don't know if you could have any bright spots, but
I'm sorry. You got yesterday a top 5 pick. You got a top 5 pick at Washington, and Drake May falls. You're not taking him?
I don't know enough about Drake May yet.
Caleb Williams.
That's what I would say.
Let's say Caleb Williams is there at 5.
If he is what people truly believe, of course you take Caleb Williams.
But it's preface. Don't preface it. If Caleb Williams is there.
Yes, you take Caleb Williams. Yes, you take Caleb Williams. But I also saw something on Twitter, which was a good point. If he's playing behind this O-line, he's on IR right now, which is also true. I got a good laugh out of that. I can't remember who. I want to give credit accordingly. I can't remember who it was. But when he was cracking up just saying, hey, Caleb would be on IR right now, he's 100% right. Sam has taken so many hits.
I don't know why you can't draft a Caleb Williams and still have a Sam Howell start for you.
There's no chance that happens.
Why? Sam Howell's a 5th round draft pick, right? He's a 5th rounder on a extremely
Caleb
cheap
is
salary.
going to sit behind Sam Howell.
Yes.
No chance.
All right. Number one, my philosophy on sitting quarterbacks.
Yes, I do. Yes,
Number
I do.
two, if Sam Howell shows out, right, then what you have is you have the situation that like the San Diego Chargers had when they had Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers. You have an unheralded guy, didn't spend any good draft capital on him, right? And you have him here, and then you have something that you can get draft capital back for because he still has another year or two left on his rookie deal, and you could get or command if he fucking throws.
Drew and Phillip were both high picks.
Huh?
Drew and Phillip were both high picks.
Drew, at that point in San Diego, before he went to New Orleans, was thought of as what? Until he had that one season.
When Phillip got there.
Huh?
He ended up having that season when Phillip got there.
Yeah, when Phillip, I get understood.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that if Sam Howell's this season that he's having right now, right? Are we going to give him a new contract?
We don't have to decide that right now.
I'm saying that Sam Howell's not getting a new contract.
Yes, he is not.
He's not this offseason. That's not happening. My thought is if you have a top 5 pick, draft a goddamn quarterback. Who gives a shit?
Just not Bo Nix. Can we at least start there? Not Bo Nix.
I'm just saying, I have no problem with having Sam Howell and a top 5 quarterback pick on the same roster.
We need an offensive line. That's what we need.
I'm just saying if the talent's there, if you have somebody as talented as a Caleb Williams there, right? I'm not saying that he will be
if there are 3 really good left tackles you like, and you don't give a shit, and there's a QB needy team, and they know they need one, right? Not like we necessarily know we need one. And let's say Caleb's not the QB available. I would love to trade down, get more picks, and get one of those 3 left tackles if we're indifferent towards those left tackles. We're good with any one of those 3, because that. And it also depends on who the GM is. God, there's so much wrong with this team because we could whip on all of them.
Is he not?
Yeah. And so,
what kind of quarterback competition will it look like?
This will end up being a deeper conversation. I'm very much looking forward to the offseason and seeing what all transpires because our episodes are going to be very fun about that. What is occurring?
Prepare yourselves, guys. This offseason is going to be. It's like the fun we used to have there in some of the Dan Snyder era. Just knowing that we have more hope. Like it used to be like, oh my God, first day of free agency. What the fuck is going to happen in Washington? And we were all excited about it. Don't lie. We were all excited.
Oh yeah. We are actively getting through this season together. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah. But it could be fun.
Could be. Looking forward to it. Any final thoughts before we jump on out of here, K-Dot?
No.
Cool. Same. Hopefully this defense somehow turns around. I also, just to be clear, don't see it turning around. Okay. Just so we're on the same page there. I'm just saying that there could be subtle mindset shifts. That is it. That was pretty cool. Love the
Jack Del Rio getting fired does anything to jostle anything in anybody's fucking brain outside of the scheme sucks, which might be what John Allen is saying. It's like, hey, he forces us to do this
in a league that has featured Antonio Brown and many others.
Get any worse.
I can't rule it out.
I will say this: Ron Rivera taking control of the defense cannot get worse than it has been.
Oh yeah, we already allow the most points. What are we gonna do? Allow more? I mean, okay.
Like even if we get blown out 40-something to fucking Miami, who gives a shit?
Last question. Let's say we give up 60 to Miami, and it's actually within the realm of possibility because they put up 70 already. Let's say we give up 60, and then it's the bye week. Is Ron gone? Did he only get the 1 game?
I don't know what this ownership group is doing. My opinion has not changed. I still want to see Eric Bieniemy in an interim head coach role. And
I see. Okay.
And I've circled the bye week. I've circled the bye week.
So would you, if we were to get blown out by the Dolphins, and I'll make it easy again, they put up 60 on the defense.
What do we do on offense?
15.
Okay.
Do you think the ownership group? Do you think the ownership group goes? Hey, it's only 10 more points in the blowout, by the way, just mathematically.
Everything stays the same. Nobody gets fired. Nothing happens.
Oh my God! So we lose 60-15 to Miami at home
because 15 is not enough to say just throw Eric Bieniemy in there as head coach.
That's part of it. And so I did want to say this. I asked you if you had any final thoughts, and I was like, all right, here we go. We got one more topic.
Prick. So but the angle is if Miami scores 60 points and we can only manage to score 15, and it sure seems like a blowout and we're throwing the ball a ton, which would also mean that Sam Howell has some interceptions. It should
Ramsey's
also
back.
mean if there's that many points, we're not rushing the football.
Correct.
Why the fuck would you hand the reins over to Eric Bieniemy?
That's part of it. So I also wanted to mention this because I think there are a lot of people that are like, why didn't Ron go today as well? A couple of reasons, in my opinion. One, that I don't think they saw an adequate interim, defensive coordinator on the staff. So they were like, let's give it to Ron because he would be the most qualified to do it. He's done it before. Two, I don't think they want to hand the reins to Bieniemy, especially after just putting up 10 points on offense.
Step back for a second. How much do you think the ownership group had to do with this at all?
This, very little.
That's my thing. It's like, Ron finally reached a point where he's like, all right, here's the thing. Your whole point.
But that was this. So what I'm saying is during the bye week.
Here's what I'm giving you credit for. I'll give you credit for this.
Thank you.
Half credit.
Backhanded as shit. Here we go.
No, that's not backhanded. It's not backhanded.
Cool.
I don't agree with you that it was a wake up, that it should be a wake up call for the players and saying that their job is gone.
Fair enough.
I might agree that it was a wake up call to Ron. So that's the reason he steps out as far as the loyalty on Jack Del Rio. Is it too late, sir, Ron? Yes. But but did you do it? Yeah. This might have been scary times for him in the sense of, holy shit, I think they're going to want to make a move. I got to do something. And that's a possibility, right? But every week that goes by and we don't have more offensive input, I think the ownership group every week I get closer to thinking the ownership group is like, not nary one of these motherfuckers is getting through.
I think it's very much becoming I was mentioning this to somebody else. Funnily enough, I think the only way they give it to Eric, this is going to sound weird, just given the rest of the schedule, is if they know they don't want him next season and they want to say they tried. They don't even have to.
I don't think they have
because
to
they don't have to try. But if they were to look at it optically and go, okay, we can at least say we tried and we know
Dan would have to
do it.
Dan would have to do that.
Okay,
Dan would have to do that because he's a prick.
That's a good point. It is brand new ownership group, so they don't have to. They're not established.
There's no racial element. There's nothing. They got Magic
but
Johnson on the team. All that kind of stuff.
If they wanted to look at it from the optic perspective, they could always say that they did try. So I don't know that it's.
They'll say, look at our fucking record and look at where the rushing attack and everything is, and look at how many times Sam Howell tries to.
By the way, as of right now, I don't think Bieniemy is going to get that opportunity.
All right, so here's the thing. So here's what we're positing, and we're supposed to wrap this up. Whatever.
You're right. This is the last point. I won't even say anything in response. Go ahead.
If the Miami Dolphins score 60 and we score 35, Ron, bye.
They could.
Eric, take it. That to me, I could sell that. I could see how that works. I think that we would be fucked. I think things could get worse because I don't know who's running the defense at that fucking point. Right. It's like. Motherfucker can't do a rushing.
You want to be head coach? How about OC and DC as well? You just do it all.
Maybe Kerrigan got something in him.
They just give it to John Allen. They're like, go ahead.
This ownership
call whatever you want.
I think this ownership group's over everybody.
I think so too. Honestly, I think so.
Just like dude, what the fuck? We're just gonna clean house. Like, change the name, clean house. All right, let's get out of here.
We'll see you guys later.
Bye.
In DC, we're just hoping that you listen.